America began because of immigration. People migrated from England because of persecution and poor living conditions. Today, people are moving to America for the same reasons, but they are met with many different challenges. People migrating to the U.S. has been a constant for almost all of history. The only change has been the government policies toward these migrating citizens. Immigration truly became an issue during the early 1900s. There was a wave of mass immigration from Europe to America. Over 14.5 million immigrants came to America through our many ports. Some to the west, some to the east. 25 million immigrants passed through the infamous Ellis Island. Citizens of America met this wave with the rise in nativism and racism. Americans were not open to the idea of new immigrants because many were illiterate and would take the low-paying jobs. Similar to now, Americans wanted this to end. The government began to be concerned over the amount of immigrants moving to the U.S., which led to the Immigration Act of 1917. This act restricted the number of immigrants moving to the U.S. by only allowing those who could read or write in their native language into the country. The breakout of World War I also aided the process of restricting immigration. In the name of national security, President Wilson issued a series of proclamations. He began the system of the passport and increased deportation activities. Those who came to the U.S. needed paperwork, and the borders were tightened with the introduction of border control. During the economic boom of the 1920s, the U.S. began a system that restricted immigration. The Immigration Act of 1924 created quotas for each national origin in Europe. Therefore, only a limited amount of people from each country would be allowed into the U.S. The Western Hemisphere was left untouched by this law. The Immigration Act also excluded certain nationalities from entering the U.S. Specifically, the Japanese were not allowed across U.S. borders. This law led to restrained relations between the U.S. and Europe. From this point forward, European immigration would slowly decrease. In the 1940s, a new wave of immigration was beginning. People were coming to America from places other than Europe. Arabs and Latin Americans were migrating to the U.S. in search of a better life for them and their children. This mainly occurred because of World War II. Due to many soldiers overseas, there was a shortage of workers. The U.S. began a program in 1942 known as the Bracero Program. This allowed over 5 million Mexican workers to come to the U.S. for jobs. This essentially began the Mexican immigration to the U.S. Legislation concerning immigration didn't really change during the 1950s. It still included quotas, excluded races, and increased deportation. It wasn't until the 1960s that immigration was beginning to change. The Immigration Act of 1965 would set up a system for citizenship which allowed millions of immigrants to become U.S. citizens, and it got rid of the nationality quotas in Europe. This law, though, did add in quotas for the Western Hemisphere. Before this point, there was no limit to Latin American immigrants to the U.S., which was already rising. This began the need for legal immigration. To add to this, the Bracero program was also terminated, so people from Latin American countries, especially Mexico, began to sneak across the borders in search of jobs. At this time, Oscar Quiroga and Carmen Santos both moved to the U.S. These are their stories.
Hello, my name is Carmen Sanchez Quiroga. I came from Mexico to the United States in 1963.
Why did you move to the U.S.?
After obtaining my bachelor's degree from the University of Mexico, I was offered a fellowship at the University of Oklahoma.
Was it difficult or easy to move here?
It was very easy due to the fact that I already had a fellowship.
What was it like to adjust to American society?
It was very easy because working in research and studying to obtain a master's or a PhD was my dream.
Did you ever regret your decision?
No, I never did, and I never will.
When did you obtain citizenship?
I obtained my citizenship in 1995.
Was it hard to obtain citizenship?
No, actually, it was very easy.
Why did you obtain citizenship?
Well, I wanted to have all the rights and privileges of a citizen in the United States.
How do you believe immigration has changed from when you moved here compared to now?
It has changed quite a bit. Uh, I, but I'm very happy that I came when I did because it was so easy. So yes, I think that it has changed very much.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Oscar Quiroga, and at age 19 I came to the United States from Argentina.
Why did you move to the United States?
I moved here because I had a sister already living in the States.
Was it difficult or easy to move here?
Well, at age 19, nothing is difficult, and it wasn't that difficult for me.
What was it like to adjust to American society?
Well, it was difficult in the first few years, and it's just different culture, different food, and that's probably was the most difficult, including the language.
Did you ever regret your decision?
Well, not necessarily. With the first couple of years, I had second thoughts about, I wanted to go back. However, after that time, my thoughts was to make a home here.
When did you obtain your citizenship?
I obtained my citizenship in 1975.
Was it hard to obtain your citizenship?
No, not really. The application went through, and the testing about American history was part of the requirements, and I didn't think it was that difficult.
Why did you obtain citizenship?
The decision to obtain a citizenship is because I was already living here. I made the United States my home, so I wanted to have full rights of including voting, and that is the reason why I decided to obtain the U.S. citizenship.
How do you believe immigration has changed from when you moved here compared to now?
Well, obviously, it has been a lot of changes have taken place since then. We're talking about 1963 when I came, and from that time forward, immigration has changed to the point that now it's very difficult to make a decision to travel to move and make a home in the United States.
Because of the termination of the Bracero program and restrictions on immigration from the Western Hemisphere, illegal immigration increased. This ultimately led to the Immigration Reform and Control Act in 1986. This act aimed to lessen illegal immigration by increasing border patrols and having stricter hiring processes. This act was never very effective because it had little enforcement power, and it is hard to keep track of every single illegal immigrant in the U.S. In general, from this point forward, more people moved to the U.S. Legal or illegal, it was generally difficult to come here. Barbaro Alvarez moved here from Cuba. This is his experience.
Why did I move to the USA? I moved to the US because I want to have a better life for myself. How easy or difficult was it to come here? It wasn't easy because I have to leave my family behind, my friend, my childhood. Difficult because I have to start new life, different mentality, different language. Did you obtain citizenship? If so, was it difficult? Yes. I'm American citizen in 2005. And the most difficult, I think, was all the investigation in the immigration offices about myself, just because I born in a communist country. Did you ever regret your decision? I do not regret my decision because in America I have the freedom to do what I want. I can grow and have better future. What was it like to adjust to America? It was hard because I didn't speak the language and I couldn't get a job in my field. And I have to work in whatever to survive.
The problem of illegal immigration and people wanting to come to America has never ceased. More than ever, people want to be here in America and move here and begin a life. Therefore, illegal immigration continued to grow, and so did the resentment towards it. There are typically two ways of dealing with illegal immigration: deportation or immensity. Immensity is the typical democratic view of how to handle illegal immigration. It involves pardoning all non-criminal illegal immigrants in the U.S. and putting them on a path to become U.S. citizens. This is exemplified through the President Obama's DREAM Act. The DREAM Act included immensity and better protected borders in order to slow illegal immigration and to help those who have already entered the U.S. During the Obama years, the U.S. was typically more lenient towards illegal immigrants. Now, with the Trump administration in control, the U.S. has flipped in terms of illegal immigration policy. President Trump vows to deport all of the illegal immigrants in the U.S. This policy has split the country. On one side, the Americans who work in wage labor or agriculture are typically support this because it gives them a greater opportunity for jobs. On the other hand, people are opposed to this due to moral or fiscal reasons. Deportation is very costly. It would cost Americans much more to deport millions of immigrants rather than to legalize them. As well, many of those immigrants have family here in the U.S. Therefore, deportation would rip apart those families, leaving the children in the hands of the government, which costs taxpayers money. This opposition to Trump's policies has sparked many protests and backlash. Many Americans are fighting his views on immigration, while the other half supports his cause and hopes for 8 years of anti-immigration policies. We will all just have to wait and see to which side will prevail.